Hey guys, RB here. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel. So we just got done finishing up the 2-in project that we thought was a 9-in. I think that was the second one that we thought was a 9-in, but it was actually a 2-in because of the serial number break. So anyways, what I have here is my 1942 style John Deere B. This tractor is kind of a special one to me. My grandfather gave this to me when I turned 14 years old for my 14th birthday, and we restored it together. It was one of the last big projects that we did together, and so yeah, it's been sitting around. I have used it. So last fall we used it at the Harvest Festival, and had a little bit of a hard time starting it up to load it back up on the trailer, but I did get it, and then I didn't do much with it during the winter, and I kind of suspected that there was water in the fuel tank, and I think my suspicions are now correct because she's frozen up. So I'd like to get this one in the shop next. I don't know how much we're going to do to it. I do want to get it running. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull it and get her in the shop, and let's assess it from there. Okay guys, so she is frozen up, solid, not wanting to move. I turned it over about a month ago, so it shouldn't be that bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to free roll it down to the shop from here. I'm going to keep it in gear, and I'm going to try bumping it, see if we can't get it freed up in this little bit shorter time. And yeah, we'll see if we can get in there. I know we're still going to have to use the tractor to push it in, but let's use momentum as our friend. If you're just joining us, thank you. I'm RB, Tractor Man. I have many YouTube videos out there, and we've featured this one, I think, on a couple already. Right after we pulled it out of storage, I think we got it going. I think I threw a video up on that. I lost some video footage, so that might be part of that footage. Can't remember. Anyway, so we got the 42B in the shop here, and we got some issues with it. Number one being it's frozen up again. So we're going to go ahead and start working on this one. I think the very first thing I'm going to do, guys, is go ahead and pull spark plugs out, and let's see what the cylinders look like. Alright, so I went ahead and got the plugs pulled out of it, and ironically enough, if you watched our last video, let's get the 2-in running, I got the wrong spark plugs. Well, those wrong spark plugs actually be the right spark plugs for this machine, so that's great. But these are brand new plugs too. And I got a little bit of surface rust on them, not a whole lot, but there is some rust. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab my scope, my inspection camera, and let's stick it in the cylinders and see what we can't see in there. I do know we're probably going to have to soak some oil in there before we try breaking it free. But before I put oil in there and make a mess, let's see what the cylinders look like right now. Okay, so this is cylinder number 1. That's like towards the bottom. You can see on the left hand side the cyclone, which is the piston. So the cylinder wall does not look that good. That is the bottom, but there's no standing stuff. So I think if I get some, maybe let's try some transmission fluid and acetone. That seems to be what everybody's using these days. I haven't tried it, so we're going to try it on this. And so, like I said, I think we can break this right free. That's what this one looks like. Let me get set up and we'll look at the other cylinder. Okay, so cylinder number 2 looks about the same. And so what I can see is that this definitely had water sitting in it, and it looks like the water evaporated and just pocket rusted it in place. So yeah, let's go ahead and get together our mixture of acetone and automatic transmission fluid. Yeah, let's get some stuff squirted in there and see what it does. Okay, you guys, if you remember a couple videos back, we were working on our Honda water pump. I think that's the GX120 Honda motor that was frozen up. We used up the rest of our Marvel's Mystery Oil, which we've had forever. I kept the container, and this is going to be a perfect application for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a quart of automatic transmission fluid in this, and then we'll put some acetone in it and put some in the cylinders. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I went ahead and put about 15 squirts in each side. I didn't want to fill it completely up. I don't think it's going to take that much to get it freed up. Like I said, about a month ago it was free. I did go out and it was tough, and I was able to break it free. So we did that. What I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and check the oil, see if we got any moisture in there, as well as probably the rear end, and we'll go ahead and start there. Might as well. So I did put new fluids in this spring, I believe it was, and so it shouldn't be that bad. I do think I need to get a new cover or a new gasket for the top plate cover, so water maybe getting in there. And like I said, all indications indicate that water came in through the carburetor. When I tried to start it, I got it to pop a couple times, but it was looking like a steam engine. So I think that there's just water in the fuel system somewhere. So anyways, we'll let that soak for a little bit. I'm going to check the oil. Okay, so the oil looks great. There's no indication of water in the oil or the rear end. The rear end's a little bit low, but it doesn't look milky or anything. So woohoo on that. So I think the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and drain the fuel, and we'll see what that kind of looks like. I'll grab my trusty little inspection bowl to start with and see if we got any moisture or water in the fuel system. Alright guys, so I've got the inspection bowl out here, and surprisingly enough, I'm not seeing water in there. I'm going ahead and draining the tape regardless, but it does have a little taint to it. I think it would probably burn, but you know, being this thing's frozen and I do need to try to get this running, I don't want to mess around with bad fuel or potential bad fuel. So we'll go ahead and start fresh with this. I've got this thing draining right here, and we'll let it do its thing. Yeah, so part of the issues I've had with this, the Magneto seemed like it went dead on me. I know that, so I had this at the Harvest Festival last year, and I think I picked it up in November-ish, I think right before the holidays, and had a hard time getting it started, and then it was misfiring and not running very good. I think I ended up having some moisture in the Magneto, so I got the moisture out, cleaned the points, got it fired, started running, started on the trailer, and got it home. And we looked at it, ran it a little bit, but I just really wasn't in a good place to be able to run these around. I had a very environmentalist neighbor who gave me a hard time. So he's gone. Anyways, so I think this is just going to be a case of we need to check the Magneto. We'll check for spark, probably pull it off there, clean it, and then the carburetor, we need to do the same thing too. We're going to pull it off, we're going to inspect it, because if there's any moisture in there or moisture got into the cylinder, that float is probably stuck or hung. So we're going to go ahead and start with getting the fuel out. That's what we're doing now. And I think while that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and pull the Magneto. So 2 bolts. Alright guys, so I got the Magneto off. So I only had 1 bolt in this. I know I was fighting the Magneto before, so it's possible I just got so burnt out that I just threw it on there. So anyways, I'm not going to worry about timing. Usually you want to mark these things, what direction they are, but we're going to get this thing freed up, and then we're going to retime it anyways. So, because I'm 100% sure that I was not 180 degrees out when I was trying. So, just looking at everything else here. So, my fuel cap is in horrible shape. I would consider just getting a gasket, but I think the cap is rotted out. And then inside the tank, hopefully you guys can see, it is got a little bit of indication of some dirt and debris in there, so I may try to suck that out, and of course we'll clean the screen. So yeah, I don't use the back tank on this. So kind of the history, when I restored this with my grandfather, the valve for the tank was bad, and they were so dang expensive, and just being a teenager and doing side jobs to be able to have money to put into this thing, you know, I chose to just put a regular unit on there. And then I never got a mixing valve for it. So I probably need to go ahead and get a mixing valve, get it on there. That way I can hook back up the second tank. And then the fuel lines, or the main fuel line I still have around here somewhere. I've kept all these years. I don't know how it's managed to not get lost. But I should probably go ahead and, you know, get both tanks going again. Part of the plan with the farm is we want to be able to make our own diesel. And we want to kind of look at the opportunity to go back to distilled fuels, and these will run on the distilled fuel. So basically the way it works is it's got like a 1 gallon tank up front here, and that's what you start the tractor on, get it warmed up, and then you switch to the other fuel source, which could be like stove oil, kerosene. I think people have ran these off diesel. So I don't know, we want to experiment with it. I know my John Deere A is set up to do that, and this can be, so we could probably go ahead and switch it back over. So it looks like my fuel tank has finished draining. So I think the next step is I'm going to go ahead and move the ladder and stuff out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and pull that carburetor off, and let's get it on the bench and see what's up here. Alright, so we got the carburetor off. And let's build a little dialogue here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the intake where the carburetor bolts up to. And we notice it's rusty in there. Okay, so that means that water was definitely, or moisture was definitely getting sucked in through there, or that was our point of entry. So again, could have been through the fuel tank. Okay, so look at this. Here's our carburetor. Definitely nasty inside of there. Definitely nasty on the other side of it. Okay, and this side goes to the air cleaner. And if we look at the air cleaner tube side, there's rust in there too. So here's what I think part of what happened. And this has been an issue with this thing. So as you can see, this has some crinkles and stuff in it. So we've always suspected that maybe moisture was getting down in there. And I've really, throughout the years, have really needed to just go ahead and replace this pipe, and I just haven't done it. But then up top here as well is a point of moisture. Now I do have a can on, but as you can see, it just doesn't go all the way down. So it deflected some of it, but I think we're still getting some moisture in there. So yeah, that's not good. And then this old can here. This is the original can that my grandfather had on it. Gosh, I think I got this tractor in '94. That's when I would have been 14, yeah. So, it's old. And I love it, but I think it's time to upgrade it, guys. What do you think? So, surprised that that tin has lasted that long. I did go ahead and drop the oil bath as well. I wanted to check and see what kind of moisture we have in there. And, you know, it's not horrible. But again, you can see the telltale sign of a little moisture. So I'm just going to kind of let this go under here for right now. And we're going to go ahead and do that. I think the next thing is I want to go ahead and put this thing in gear and try to rock it back and forth and see if by chance we've gotten it to come loose yet. So, alright, so I popped it in gear, clutch in, and rocked the tractor back and forth just a little bit. And I got a little bit of play. But it feels like the play off of the end of the the rods. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and pop this cover off. That way we can get an inspection on the backside and just make sure there's no damage in there. Okay, so let's inspect. A little bit of rusting, but not bad. Like I said, I think that it's just in the cylinders. So we should be able to get that freed up. Yeah, let me go ahead and give this a try again and see what we got. Okay guys, so she's rocking just a little bit. There isn't as much play as I thought there was in the connecting rods, so it's definitely stuck there. Now, something that a lot of people don't know with these old tractors is in the flywheel there's actually 2 threads. And those threads can be used, if you thread bolts in, you can use them as a leverage point for when something like this happens. You put bolts in there, use a nice pry bar. Let's see if we can break this thing free. Okay. Okay, you don't want to go crazy. Just kind of rock it back and forth. Look at that. Okay. So you can just kind of work back and forth like that for a little bit. It's going to be free now. Voila. There's our trick. If we look, we got a leak on the floor now. And what that is from is the other cylinder. So we just got the compression stroke on the other one. Look at this. Woo! Yeah, look at that, yummy. We'll make a mess and clean it up here. Get that cylinder all lubricated. All right, we're free, guys. Awesome. Well, I'm going to clean up my mess, and I'll show you what we'll do next. Okay, so where are we at? So let's recap. We had a frozen tractor here, and she was a little more stuck than I thought she was going to be. So we were able to get her freed up. She's free now, so that's good. What's next? So I'm going to go ahead and put the inspection cover back on. The gasket's still good on there, so we'll go ahead and get that sealed back up. No sense having that open, contaminate, let anything fall in there and stuff. And then I think where we need to go next is we need to look at the mag and the carburetor. Now, my grandfather, bless his heart, he was awesome at magnetos and carburetors. And I remember as a kid, a little boy, sitting and watching. He had How to Rebuild Your Magneto on VHS tape. And, man, I learned some things from there, but it's one of those things you never realize how much you've learned from somebody, or you haven't learned from somebody until they're gone, and then you've lost that opportunity. So I'm not very good at mags and carburetors, or carburetors and mags. I wish I had learned more from my grandfather, but I do have a couple people I can call if I get into a pinch, and I have bought and got some different manuals on them on how to rebuild them and stuff. So that's where we need to go. The mag shouldn't be in horrible shape. I want to go ahead and pop the cap off of it and check the points, check the gap, and then, like I said, we need to time this thing again because I'm not 100% sure that it was on compression stroke and that the cog was in there right. And I think that's partly what I was fighting. This thing used to be just a dream tractor. So I restored this when I was 14 years old. Got it in time just for the fair the following year. So when I was 15, I think that was the first time we showed it. paint was still wet when we took it to the fair, and I've got a picture up on my website of that. My little brother sitting on my lap on it, kind of cool. And then I use this tractor throughout my ag days at FFA. We do the farm days and stuff, and I have had more little kids over this tractor get to sit on it, and really a cool time. So, yeah, it's just been a great tractor, a great runner, a great starter, just a fun little tractor. But so one of the funny things, just a great memory of doing the ag FFA farm days. So here it is years later. I'm working in the rental industry, equipment rental industry, and I had this nice lady come in and want to rent a tractor. She has a little mini farm, and they just don't have enough money yet to do a tractor, but they needed to rent one to get a couple projects done. And so I was talking with her and trying to get her stuff in package and stuff, and she goes, I think I can do it. She goes, I kind of like tractors. You know, when I was this little kid, I remember we had farm days at school, and somebody brought their tractor, and I got to sit on it, and that stuck with me my entire life. And I'm getting giddy at this point because I knew it was myself and then my very close friend that continued that on a couple years after that I had graduated high school. So it was either myself or him. And so having this tractor and having that picture of my brother on it and stuff up on the website, it was really cool because I pulled up the website and I said, how about this? And her jaw just dropped. She's like, oh my God, that's it. So we looked through pictures, and I had a couple pictures. I had one of a bunch of kids sitting underneath the tent. I was teaching them about plows and stuff, and lo and behold, she was part of that audience in there. So it was just a really cool experience, and that's what I'm about. That's what I love doing, and I got away from that in life. And, you know, some things you just have to drop back in life and make another go of it and do what makes you happy. And that's what I'm doing now. You know, I won't say I got burnt out of my industries. I started off my career in IT and did a lot of stuff with computers, had a family, and kind of one of those situations where work took over presence of family, and so I lost a lot of opportunities there. And, you know, hard times in life. I don't like to talk about this stuff, but, you know, it's good for you. So, you know, I did that, and then rental industry got me back to the tractor side of things, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoy helping people out, and just like every experience of getting them set up with the right equipment and showing them how to use it, that's what got me going on the inside. And so things just kind of changed in that industry to where the service industry just got really weird on the backside of the COVID here. I know we're still dealing with COVID. I'm not trying to minimize it, but just it's just like people's expectations got really weird. So being going to technical school and stuff for customer service engineering is what I specialized in. I couldn't deal with public anymore on a day-to-day basis. It just really something snapped, guys, and I don't know how to explain it. But so now, you know, doing what I do now, field equipment repair, it's great because I get to build a relationship with my customers, get to help them out. It's on site, so we get to just communicate and have fun, and they're always welcome to help out too. You know, if they want me to just do it, that's cool too. Either way, so get to do that, and then have a shop to work on equipment. Yeah, so I'm kind of back online with what I want to do. We got some great things planned for the farm here. A lot of planning stage right now. This has been an active farm. This originally was a 200-acre farm. Right now it's at 84 acres. So the family has lost some land throughout the years, but we're hanging on to that last bit, and we're going to make a go of it. So we've got some really exciting things coming up, and we will probably branch off to a new YouTube channel once we get going on that. And we're excited about it. So but right now, let's deal with the tractor. So I'm going to get that cover back on. We'll go ahead and get set up. We'll start working that Magneto over, and let's see where we're at. All right, guys. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look at this mag. I don't know how well this camera is going to pick us up, but so this is a Wyco mag, and it's an XH1042. So this is typically an X, considered an X mag. And there's two different types of designs. I wish I had my other mag down, but we'll show you. So this is, there's one that has a wire that runs through, and those are, I believe, on older tractors. I think that this one, the B carried both those type of mags, both universal, but this one just has the full cap and everything's underneath. Let's go ahead and pop that sucker open. Like I said, there's so many other great videos on how to rebuild these and stuff. And I highly recommend them. I'm learning. Just can't be afraid to do it. Possible there's some moisture in this one. Now, I can tell that this cap does have a hole drilled in the bottom of it. That was one thing that my grandfather would always do to his caps, is drill a hole. That way condensation and stuff couldn't build up in them, and it'd run out the bottom. So, wow, that thing is like really spring-loaded. I don't think it's supposed to be that spring-loaded. So we definitely need to look at that, get that thing. So there's 4 screws holding this cap on. Voila, there we go. Okay. So that's probably where it was at. That was really springy. So cap don't look too bad. Like I said, I know that I'm trying to get this going. I did have the cap off. I had the mag off and apart and everything. So that all looks really good. It's all clean. We could probably run it through a little bit. Check that hole, because it doesn't even look like that hole is draining right. So, well, okay. So there we go. So the inside of the mag, you can see what we have is a coil, condenser. This is the bug. It goes around. That's what makes the points contact on the timing. And then the points are right down here. So, and they got a little corrosion in them. So we will definitely get those cleaned up. So everything else, the key things you want to watch out for is sometimes these wires will get corroded and then they ground out along the frame. I've had that happen. And then the condensers do go bad as well. So everything else is looking pretty good. We're going to go ahead and clean points on this one and just double check, and I think we're in good shape. So it's really clean. I'll get this side all cleaned up too. It's got some corrosion going on it. And then the most important thing is when we put it back on, we will be putting a gasket on it and a new bolt because I've lost the top bolt. So anyways, I'm just going to do some cleaning, and when I get back to adjusting the point, I will show you guys how to do that. Okay guys, so I got the cap cleaned up, got the mag cleaned up, and I went ahead and filed down the points, got the debris from between it. I saw that there was some buildup in there, and then I also made sure that the gap is correct. So there's 15 thousandths. So I think we're ready to put this back on. We got good impulse snap on it, so that's cool. Like I said, I've never really had issues with this mag. I think it just had some corrosion going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this mag on without the cover on. And the reason for that is that we want to be able to set the timing right to it. We may have to pull the mag back off and turn it 180 degrees in order to get the cog where it needs to fire. So that's the plan. Let me go ahead and get a bolt set up for this and a gasket. And we'll go ahead and get it mounted back on the machine. Okay, I see the battery is about dead in this camera. So the basic point of timing this is on the flywheel. There is a left hand impulse and a left hand exhaust open. So what we want to do is feel where we got compression. So right there, and then it should be a timing in the back. Click, like right there, okay? So right about in there is where we want to snap it, and what I typically do is I roll it back just a little bit, okay? We're going to go ahead and set the mag. Right here, there's our cog. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I think it should be like right about there. Okay, and I don't believe you need to put the top one in. I think you can just do the bottom one to get it set up. Now you got some fine tuning there. So what we want to do is we want to have that point of contact be at the top, because the top goes to the far side. So let me get to where it clicks over and we'll see where we're at. Should be exhaust open. So we are like 180 out. Okay. So we know that it just clicked open. So I'm going to take it off and I'm going to turn that cog 180 degrees and we should be relatively close to where it's at. Okay. So that one is for that one. Okay. We may be good. Okay. Compression stroke, impulse right there. Okay. So where are we popping at? Boom. Okay. I think we're good, guys. Okay, so the other thing I want to tear into this evening is the carburetor. I'd like to at least get it disassembled and get parts soaking, maybe use a little the ultrasonic cleaner. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and disassemble this thing. And unfortunately my tripod's dead, so I'm going to have to just kind of do it in stages, and I'll jump in and show you guys what I've done. So go ahead and get ready and we'll get disassembled. Okay guys, so I just used a wrench to bust this nut loose. You got to be really careful because the threads on those are very particular, and what will happen, this is the failure point of this carburetor, is it'll actually snap off the threads. So, oh yeah, so the spring, there's a spring downside there and it is just junk. Look at that. It's all rusted up in pieces. Yikes. I went through this carburetor a couple years ago, so really surprised. So got the float there. The float looks good, but it is definitely seized. Oh, there we go. We got it broken loose. Definitely had moisture in this carburetor. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and take it completely apart, jets and everything. So, let me go ahead and get the shafts and everything out, and I'll touch bases with you guys. Okay guys, so I've been working on getting off all the brass plugs and stuff out of this thing. This carburetor is in bad shape. And like I said, I rebuilt it a couple years ago. Maybe 3 years, maybe it's been 4 years ago now. This one actually I rebuilt to get my A started, and then I ended up putting it on this tractor, and I bought a new carburetor for the A. So I wanted to show you a little trick. If you ever taken one of these apart and you got the brass plugs, they're very easy to strip out. So before you strip them out, grab your propane torch and heat this suckers up. Get it pretty hot. Okay. And then if you let it cool down, and the trick I do is when it's cooling down, give it a little tap. Okay, I usually let them cool down all the way and then try them again, and usually they come right out. Might have to heat them back up again, but that's the trick of the trade right there. Alright guys, so I got all the plugs out of this. I had one that was really stuck, broke off. I ended up having to drill it out and then tap it out, and we got her to go. So what I'm going to do, I have a little tub here, and I put OxyClean in it, the oxygen stuff, and then some baking powder. And I'm just going to soak this overnight, and that'll get whatever's out inside of it. And alternatively, what we're going to be doing is just going to have to be sandblasted really good. We're going to clean all the orifices really good, and I'm going to have to order a carburetor kit. I don't think I can save this kit. It's just too far gone. So with that spring being bad and everything, I think the base is still good, but I think everything else is just really bad condition. So we're going to go ahead and soak that tonight. So I usually just put the stuff in there and got some water. Okay, that should be good. So the reason I'm putting so much in there is, oh boy, I got a leak in this one. Cool. Alright. Well, that pan's no good. Let's go with this one right here. Okay. Whew, I was wondering what was dripping on my toes. Let me find another pan and I'll show you what we're doing. Alright, disaster averted. We'll use these cheap tubs from Dollar Tree. Put a little water in there. So the reason I'm doing a tub like this, I want the water level up above where the carburetor's at, is we're going to soak it overnight, and then we're going to do some electrolysis. So super easy to set up. Get whatever little soap we can out of this one. Okay, just like that. There we go. Okay. So we're just going to drop that in. We'll let the OxyClean do what it can do, and then tomorrow we will hook electrodes up to it and turn that into an electrolysis tank. Super easy, great fun. Alright, now that I got everything wet, I'm going to get the bowl cleaned off, get it taken apart, and then drop the bowl in there as well. Okay guys, so I got the bowl finally apart. It was being a booger. So got the float here. I think the float's good. The way I'm going to test it is if you put the float back inside of the unit and throw it down there, it's completely submerged. When I come back tomorrow, we can shake it around. If we hear moisture inside of it, we know that the float's busted. So that's going to be it for today, and I'm going to go ahead and get some parts ordered.